How's it going, everyone? In this video, we are going to be discussing the very basic aspects of float, sometimes referred to as slack. In the last video, we started talking about critical paths. And to understand critical paths, you have to understand float. You cannot understand one without learning about the other. So what is float? Fundamentally, it is the amount of time a task can be delayed or extended before it impacts a deadline. Positive float means we are early to the deadline, and negative float means we are late. Not only does this allow us to see exactly how early or late we are, it also allows us to rank different sets of tasks when we are prioritizing our work. We saw in a previous video that the critical path shows us the series of tasks that we should prioritize the most. But what about all the other work? How do we prioritize from there? Knowing which series of tasks have the lowest float values allows us to prioritize not only the critical path work, but all tasks in our schedule. The root of exactly how float is calculated is a fairly complex topic, so I plan to break out a longer video to fully dive into that. I highly recommend checking this out, as if you truly want to master schedule analysis, you really need to have a full understanding of float and how it's found. So we are back at our example again, and we can see the critical path in red. Notice the column total slack that I've added here on the right. So what do these float values tell us? We can see each bucket of tasks has a different float value, and each value tells me how long I can delay the task before it impacts my milestone date. So I know I can delay searching for a venue a maximum of 45 days before I impact my wedding day of 12/5. The most important thing to notice here is the 0 days path. This chunk of tasks here, inviting the guests. The relationship between float and a path's criticality is very important. The lower a path's slack value is, the more it should be prioritized. So put another way, the path with the lowest float value is, by definition, the critical path. It's worth mentioning here that this schedule is unconstrained, meaning we have not set any kind of deadline on when we have to have our wedding. What we've done is mapped out all of our dependencies, our tasks and durations, and the schedule has told us the earliest date we can have our wedding is 12/5. When working with a schedule that is unconstrained like this one, the critical path will always be 0 days. This is not a particularly realistic scenario though. In the real world, we will have deadlines that we need to hit. So in the next video, we will dive into the concept of constraints, why they are so important, and open up the world of negative slack. Hope this was helpful, and see you next time.